Phase 1, Episode 1 from Iconic Fashion Figure point of view. Episode 1, this is the first step of me designing my Spring/Summer 2026 collection. And this is the first collection to be produced by Riche. But before anything is sewn, it all starts here. This is in the making, Season 26. One collection, two perspectives, every detail. So I've been through a lot in recent years. So this Spring/Summer 2026 collection is going to reflect where I've come from and also where I'm going. Riche is a new venture for me. This will be the first collection that I produce with Riche, so it's really important for me, especially after everything that I've recently been through. It's one of those things that is my driving force to keep going. It's the reason that I have a purpose. And you're going to see a lot of that pain that I've felt in recent years is going to be put into this collection. Ignore how I look right now. It is still very early. But I need to get my work done. I'm trying to get it done early today. And don't ask why I'm sitting on the floor. I don't know, I'm fasting this weekend and still trying to get my work done, so I'm doing whatever I can to stay focused and not think about being hungry. I decided today I'm going to record because today is a good day. So this collection is not just about trends or just selling the next best thing. It's really putting every emotion that I've felt over the last couple years into my designs. And anyone that wears these designs are going to be able to feel where I came from with these designs. You're gonna see very soon how I have actual stories behind each one of these capsules that make up my full collection. My full collection has a theme to it that truly has a meaning to it, and each capsule of that collection has an actual story, which I'll be sharing soon. Now, when I originally created my 10-year plan, Riche actually wasn't in that plan. My focus was just on selling wholesale. Never thought I would actually own the factory. But as time went on, I wanted that ownership of the factory, but still never actually added it into my plan to do it until recently. I decided that I wanted to own the factory and I wanted it here in the US. And I attempted to get this started, invested time and money into it. Didn't quite work out when I wanted it to because of personal reasons, but it's here now and I'll be producing my first collection very soon. And it's so crazy that as I think about it, because I've had many firsts. Years ago, before I even started Nouveau Riche Apparel, I used to design a lot of prom dresses. I used to do children's wear too, everything custom. And I'll never forget that very first collection I created for a runway show. That was one that really set the tone for me. That was my first big collection. So that was the first of first. Then of course I started Nouveau Riche Apparel. Originally I started it as a boutique until I transitioned it over to wholesale. Now when it was a boutique, I was just buying product from wholesalers and reselling it. But then when I switched over to do B2B, of course I designed my own collection. I put a lot into designing that first collection from Nouveau Riche Apparel because again, that was at a time where I was going through a lot, just trying to find my way and just learning life. And I put my everything into creating that, and to see that vision come to life was amazing. That was the second of the first. And now here we are with Riche. And I'm also designing still for Nouveau Riche Apparel. Now I have two of them that I'm able to actually work together. This collection is not a first for Nouveau Riche Apparel, but it is a first for Riche. So now I get to watch my third first come to life. Errands are done, groceries are put away. Now I can actually start trying to do some work, or at least planning. I need to clean up too. But it feels good to finally have a day where I feel okay. And if there's anything that I've learned in this process is that there's always a new beginning. No matter what happens, there's always a time to start again. So as this journey unfolds and you guys watch in the making of season 26, you'll get to see my entire story and the emotion in this collection. One of the things that I really want to do with this collection is kind of take everything back to my old roots. I just talked about my first of first. The way that I used to do things isn't quite how I do things right now with nouveau riche apparel, but with this collection, I want to take it back to my old roots and do it how I used to do things. So normally most designers will start out with creating their sketches, which is currently how I've been doing things with nouveau riche apparel, and then you go source the materials. Well, me, the way that I've always done things was I like to find my fabrics first, because I like to fall in love with the fabric first, and then that gives me my vision. That also helps to create cohesive collections, because now I can use those fabrics and I have that one dream item, and then I can design other items that can fit into that fabric as well. Or I might find a complementary fabric for another fabric, so now I have two and I can create a collection just off of those two fabrics. That is how I always did things, but lately I've been focusing more on creating the designs and then sourcing the materials. Lately I've also been focusing on trends and trying to figure out what the next best trend is and then designing into that. But that's not how I used to do things. I've always been one that, again, I let my fabric speak to me and I design and just let it sell. I don't chase trends, I set the trends. And that's what I want to get back to. So this book here is what got me to fall in love with fabrics. Or I should say the class that I took while I was in college. This was the textbook for it. I don't know if you guys remember the website Rate My Professor. I don't even know if that's still a thing or not. But when I was in school, yeah, Rate My Professor was a thing where you can go on there and basically read reviews of the different professors before you register for a class. I feel like I might have told this story on here already. But this book was written by one of the professors at my school. And she didn't have really good reviews on Rate My Professor. Most people called her mean and they didn't like her, so she didn't have a great rating. So by those reviews, I almost didn't take her class. But when I saw that she was the author of our textbook that I had to learn from, I decided to go against the grain and take her class anyway, even though she didn't have a great rating. Just because I felt like what better person to learn from than the person that actually wrote the textbook that I have to learn from. So I went ahead, I took her class. Let me just tell you, the reviews on her was completely wrong. She wasn't mean, she was passionate about her work. She truly had a love for fabric and she was excited to teach it. Now, this school that I went to was also a school where there were a lot of students there that were only there because their parents had money. So it's like they were accepted because they could afford the school. And those students didn't really want to be there. And she didn't play around with those students. If you didn't want to be in her class, then don't come. Like, don't waste her time. She was that type of person. So, of course, these bratty students would take that as her being mean. And she got bad ratings from those students because she didn't play around. But she wasn't mean, and I got to learn a lot. Like, as you flip through this book, there are it has all the fabric categories you can think of. It has details on it. It has like their characteristics, the differences in the fabric. It has the content, the construction. It tells you what those fabrics are best used for. And at the beginning of each section, which I don't know if you'll be able to see it, like that's our textbook portion where it goes into detail of each fabric category, and then it breaks down each fabric within that category even further. So this textbook's amazing. I graduated, what year are we in? I graduated almost 15 years ago. Is that real? Yes, I graduated at least 15 years ago. No, not quite 15 years, but close. Almost 15 years ago. And I still have this textbook. Most of those other textbooks I sold and got my money, at least got some money back for them. But this is one of the ones that I kept because this is one that continues to help me time and time again. I always refer back to this if I need to figure out something. I mean, now I've gotten to the point where for the most part I know my fabrics and I can usually tell, you know, what I need for a garment and can go find it without having to come back here, because with that class, the way she taught, my school in general, I wasn't a school where we write essays and stuff. We had projects. But this particular class, like my homework for this class and like my test and stuff for this class was to go out and buy the fabric that she tells you to buy. Like each assignment, she would give us specific fabrics we had to go find. It had to be of a certain fiber content, had to be a certain weight. Like she had specifications for the fabrics we had to go find. And you had to go out there shopping to find the fabric that she told you to go find that week. And each student would get different fabrics, so it's not like you can cheat off someone else because all of us had to find different fabrics. Or sometimes it would be like a group thing where a group of people would find certain fabrics. So that's kind of like where my love of fabrics came from, was that class. And to this day, that's still how I design, although I kind of transitioned with Nouveau Riche, focusing more on trends, which wasn't a good idea for me. But I was doing that, so that's why I'm saying I'm getting back to my old roots, because I normally would go out, source my fabrics, and then design, because I like to be able to go out and actually feel the fabric, feel the weight, feel the stretch of it, because the stretch in every fabric is going to be different or may not have any at all. I do go out and I like to see the fabrics first. I mean, the day and age we live in now, I don't have to actually go to the store. I can have the fabric swatches sent to me so that I can feel them before I design. So like here, I have this box right here full of fabric swatches. So I can look at them online, and for the most part from the pictures, and a lot of websites now have videos too, I can tell what the fabric is and it's what I'm looking for, but I still will order the swatch so I can actually feel it and see it in person and really get my ideas of what I want to do with that fabric. But this is where it all started for me, was this class. Because prior to taking this class, I didn't have a desire for fabrics. I was more into sewing and designing and just getting my creative ideas come to life. But I never really focused in on the fabrics until I took this class, and I learned that the fabric is probably more important than the design, or at least as equally as important as the design. So I really got into fabrics. I really got into being able to basically connect with my fabric. It might sound crazy, but I do try to connect with that fabric before I actually design into it. So this is where I started at. Now when it comes to selecting my fabrics, I usually will go out and literally just shop, and whatever stands out, it stands out. I like to feel my fabrics too. I pay attention to print, to textures on the fabrics, the weight of the fabric. So there's many different variables that I look into when it comes to fabric. Shopping for fabrics online is essentially just like shopping for anything else you would online. But when it comes to fabrics, it can be a little harder, just because fabrics you want to be able to feel. It's one of those things that you really would like to see in person. But in this day and age, we shop online for everything, and fabric is really no different. So one of my go-to stores back in the days was Michael Levine. I could have sworn I saw a post a while back that they were closing for good, because I remember being sad about it. This was my go-to place for fabrics. Shout out to the employees at that store, because they used to help all of us students at the school that I went to pick out those fabrics for class. They kind of did our homework for us, to be honest with you. But they would help us figure out the fabrics we need if we were confused. And then they would give us swatches, so we didn't have to buy the fabric. Sometimes I would have to just buy it. But if you be nice to them, they would give you a swatch. So I could have sworn I saw a post, I think on Instagram, of them closing, but their website is still working. Don't ask me what made me even look up their website, but I did, and it's working. And as you can see, they are extremely organized when it comes to their fabric. That's why this was the go-to place for us students, because it was always so organized and it made it easier for us to get our homework done. So when I'm shopping for fabrics, once I know what category I'm shopping for, let's say it's my swimwear or basics, I already have an idea of what fabric I need for swimwear, or for my basics. But if you're unsure, you can always Google like the best fabrics for swimwear and it'll give you an idea. But I'm just gonna go into a category, so let's just go into crochet because that stood out to me. And let's start shopping for fabrics. Oh, this took me to a different website called Fashion Fabrics Club. So Michael Levine must have started a new business and maybe it's online only. So they're probably just shipping from a warehouse because it definitely didn't take me to crochets. But let's go to apparel fabrics because that's what I'm looking for. I wonder if they offer wholesale. Back then, they used to sell wholesale because I definitely submitted my resale certificate to them back then. So that way, I think they only took the taxes off and you got like a slight percentage, but I wonder if they sell wholesale. Definitely would not be paying these prices. When it comes to my fabrics, my business, I don't buy retail. I buy it wholesale because I'm buying in bulk. But I just wanted to go on their website today, especially since it's active, just for this video. So let me find the crochet category. Oh, clearly I don't know the alphabet because I've already passed it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, here we go. Let's go. I'll just do crochet fabrics. And literally all I'm doing is just like I would if I was shopping for anything else online. I'm just scrolling through and I look for what stands out to me. So this is something that stands out to me. Right off the bat, seeing the fabric, I can already see I can make a swimsuit cover up with this. Most likely a dress, maybe a maxi. But I'll click through the pictures to kind of get an idea. Now their website, they don't have videos. Some other websites I go on, they do have videos, which is nice. But I can see the fabric. They even show you the what did I click on? They even show you the back side of the fabric, which is always good to see, to know what the backing looks like. Then of course you have like all your details about it. The good things that you want to look at is the fiber content. So this one's rayon and spandex. You want to look at the weight. They don't put the actual weight, but they have the weight category. So this one says it's light. So this is definitely something I would use for summer. You have the width of the fabric, which is really important, especially if you're producing in bulk. The wider it is, the better. Then you have the transparency, which this is semi-sheer, which makes sense. It's a crochet. They call it hand, so it's like the feel of it. So it's textured and it's soft. So these like all the detail. Oh, they do have the weight right there. I didn't even see that. They call out the stretch, but these are the details you want to pay attention to when you're trying to figure out if it's what you need. Don't just go based off photos. Look at the details as well. Actually read the stuff. And then from here, once I find a fabric that I like, that I feel like I can design into, like I'm already picturing a design for this particular fabric, I still start out with swatches. And they do offer swatches here too. It tells you to just change the quantity to 0.25 so you can order a swatch. What is this? Oh, this is like basically if they need to replace it. So cancel it if you don't have it. And add to cart. This swatch is kind of expensive though, because this is one swatch, one color, and I'm paying almost $2 for it. Whereas my other swatches, I can get a whole book of them. Depending on who I'm getting them from, a lot of times they'll send them to me for free. There are times where I have to pay for them, but I would pay like $2 or $3 for a full book of swatches. So it has like every color of that fabric in there. So that's kind of high. But again, this is a retail website. This is not a website that you will buy in bulk. So then from there, I would receive the swatches, which, let me pull out the swatches from that box I just showed you guys a moment ago. So this one's not a crochet. It's actually a rib knit. I do have crochets in that box, but I just pulled what was on the top. But this one, as you can see, I have all the colors in there. This one comes in like 40 or 50 colors. So we have all the colors in here. I think I got these for free. I think some of them I might have paid for, but I got these for free. And then I just pull at it so I can see the stretch on it. Get a feel for how's the hand feel on it, is what they call it with fabric. So it is pretty soft, and I know once you wash it, it'll definitely be soft. I pay attention to the weight of it, so it is pretty heavy, but not too heavy for spring. This is one that can actually be a crossover into fall. So that's really good, especially since they have some colors in here, especially like back here, that would work really well for fall. These are more fall colors. So this is one of those fabrics that can be a crossover. So this is something I would say is perfect for basics because it's a simple rib knit. I can get creative with the design but have a basic fabric. The stretch on this is gonna create a nice figure on the female wearing it because it's gonna hug every curve. Like I already know exactly what I'm doing with this fabric. Actually, and the sketches you guys are seeing, this fabric is in there. So this gives me an idea here, and that's why I like to see the swatches. Then from here, once I have the swatches, and then I go into creating my designs, which you guys have already seen the designs because I've been had these. But after I create those designs, that's when it goes into sampling. So I would get sample yardage to create samples. Also know, just because I've been in business for a few years now, that I know what my customers like and what they don't. Also have to think about the season. When it comes to seasons, this one's spring summer, so lighter weight fabrics work where it may not work so well in the fall or winter time, and vice versa. The heavier fabrics sell better in winter, but it may not do so well in summer. So there's a few variables that I pay attention to when I select my fabrics, but again, I just like to allow my fabrics to stand out to me and just speak to me. You'll get to see more of the fabric sourcing on Riche Stitch side because I no longer have to do my sourcing. The factory does that. And when it comes to mapping out my collections, once I have my fabrics and I start getting designs, sometimes I'll have sketches that are just quickly drawn out to get the idea out my head and onto paper, or sometimes I'll already have the digital sketch. But once I have those sketches ready, I usually just use my iPad, and then I will have themes set up. So whatever theme is supposed to be for that design will go there, and I'll kind of organize all my designs because again, a lot of my designs are done randomly. But once I have all those sketches done, then I'll organize them within the different themes that I created for that season. So normally I would lay out all my different designs in GoodNotes, but lately I've been using Freeform. So for season 26, I'm also going to use Freeform, which as you can see, I've already started. And this is nothing professional that I would use or anything like that. This is literally for me to be able to keep track of, what designs I've designed, to get the overall collection, to see what that looks like, and to make sure it all looks good. This is my time for a process of elimination if something needs to drop, if it looks like I'm missing something. So this is just my overall collective. So that's why I just use either like GoodNotes or Freeform, or even you can do this in Canva. I just don't bother uploading all the images into Canva. I used to do that, but that would take too much time. Whereas if I'm doing it on my iPad and the photos are already in my photos, and then I can either add them, I can copy paste right into GoodNotes. For some reason, it might sound like it's the same. So for you, if you want to use Canva, do it because it does sound like it's the same amount of work. But for me, for some reason, it seems like it takes longer when I use Canva. And then the good thing about Freeform, if you don't have the paid version of Canva, Freeform, you can remove backgrounds if you have any backgrounds. Like some of my sketches will usually have a white background. Sometimes I'll throw all my sketches onto one illustration board when I'm designing it, and then I want to be able to move them around if I'm moving them into different collections. So let me show you. I already have one here, and this started out as one image because they are all in collections. Like I started putting them into collections. Okay, so like for example, this is going to be one of the images I need to add in here because this is going to be one of my collections. So let's add this in. And as you can see, it has a color background. I did this on a colored canvas. Let me make this bigger. And I want to remove the background. Oh, but it took out too much. No. Freeform, don't fail me now when I'm showing everyone how this works. It never does this. And look at there. I'm sitting there talking about Canva and having to pay to remove a background, then this does this. I mean, I can do it in another app, but okay, let me delete this one out. Of course, when I want to show you guys, it wants to mess up. Okay, so let me try this one, I guess. And then I'm just gonna remove the background. Let's see. Okay, this one worked. There's still some background in there though, so I may need to... Yeah, Freeform's making me out to be a liar today after I wanted to show you guys this. Okay, so now that I have it where the background's edited out, I'm gonna duplicate it since there's 4 of them here because I want to separate them into their own individual images. Just because when I'm organizing my collections, I want to be able to move things around and line it up. That way, if something does get eliminated, I can go ahead and either... Sometimes I'll just cross it out. Oh, you can still see some of that. I'm gonna have to fix these. So sometimes I'll just cross them out, but sometimes I delete it all together so I don't change my mind and try to keep something I don't need. But this is pretty much all I'll do. These are by fabric, so technically what I can go into and do is bring in the fabrics. Here it is. Okay, like now I have the fabrics in here, so I can add in fabric swatches too, so I can know which fabric it is. I don't always put in the fabric, but it's good to know, especially since I have each design designed out in one of the different colors. This fabric actually has way more colors, so this will be helpful for those times where I don't want to sketch it in all the colors, but I still want to show the colorway options. I can have the fabrics on here, so I'll add these in. And something like this, I'm usually just sitting at my couch watching TV, well, TV more so watching me, and I'll sit there and pull all of this together. The thing that I like about Freeform is that it's like a continuous board. It's like the whiteboard in Canva. You see how small those go, and you have a ton of space. So being that I'm using different fabrics and creating different collections based off the fabrics, I can have them all spread out here. That way, once I have everything together, I can see my overall collection as one and see what it all looks like, and then of course eliminate where needed, because I'm sure I'm going to overdo it. But then I can zoom in on specific segments. So let's say I want to focus on this one and figure out what I need to do here, because this is one specific collection on its own. It's almost like a subcategory within the collection, and then you have this fabric here, and then we have another collection there. I didn't add the fabrics in there yet, but I have more designs to add in too. So that's what I like about this. And then in Freeform I can also write, so usually I would already have it written on here, which I didn't add it in yet. What size is this? So you can write on here. I can also technically go in and write like a collection name. Usually I come up with cute names for each collection. I just haven't done that yet. But that's where I can go in and add those things in. Usually once I have my collection all put together and I know what I'm doing, because I don't like to give any style numbers to something that I'm going to drop anyway. So I usually add style numbers in once, I'm already ready. So then I will come in and I'll put style number, sizes, colorways, and then eventually add in my price plus the MSRP. Oops, put MSRP. So that way it's all on there. And again, this is for me, so that way I have my notes and I can go back and refer to it when needed. I'm cold and the blanket keeps sliding off. But then that's where I have everything there. And then I can add in other notes too. I can put in delivery date. So this is personally for me, but again, it's so that I can see my cohesive collection as one. So let me continue. I'll go in and keep adding in more so you guys get the idea of what it looks like in the end, if the background remover wants to work. Now I might have to go back to good notes. And then this one here would be another collection, which we got 4. Hopefully the background remover works. Oh, it took away the top. Why is it taking away this random stuff? Yeah, it's so weird. It takes that away of all things. But let me at least get the other ones already on here. do 3 this time since I have one that's messed up. And we're going to crop it. And this is a separate fabric. This is one that's more so my basics, so that's the other thing too. You know, I can have a section for ready to wear. I'll have another section for swimwear. This one will be basics, and then we have sports, and then I usually just go in and label it. And actually, I want to do a bubble. Make these bigger. I need to get that other one. I'm going to add this collection in too. See how well this one does. Oh no, I'm missing something. Oh, the swimsuit. Why is it taking out the navy? That doesn't even match the background. Yeah, this background remover is not doing so well. I have an app on here that also removes backgrounds. It's Photo Room, but I don't pay for the upgraded version. I mean, I have Photoshop on here too, so technically I can just go in. You can already see my fabrics in here. Remove this background. Oh, Photoshop didn't do so well either. Why is everyone struggling on these photos? Why am I drawing a blank on what I'm doing? Oh, okay. Picked up too much. Oh, and it's picking up the sleeve here too. Oh yes, deleting the sleeve out there. Okay, I'll do these later.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Edit them all, which I normally don't do all of this because it would take too long to sit there and edit all the ones that I have. But here's one. I need that swimsuit too from the other one because that one's missing. This one. There we go. Oh, it's tiny there. Now with season 2026, since this is Riche Stitch's first collection that it will be producing, I'm trying to keep it small. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want to overwhelm my factory yet when I'm in my learning phase. But also I have to think about the fact that I have multiple labels. So under Nouveau Riche Apparel, I have my ready to wear, I have basics, I have denim, I have swimwear. I have several labels under Nouveau Riche Apparel. I even have men's. So I have to think about all those collections and what I'm doing with each label because I want to continue all of them. So I'm trying to keep them smaller. Most times I would say a collection is anywhere from me 6 to 12 pieces. Now, as I've been growing Nouveau Riche Apparel, I've definitely been doing my collections a lot bigger, but I want to tone that down for 2026 so that I can give Riche Stitch the opportunity to perfect its operations. So remember how I said that I was using Freeform on my iPad to put together season 26? First of all, remember Freeform is only for Apple, so for those of you with Android, you wouldn't be able to use that. Didn't even think about it. But I also noticed too, as I was putting them into Freeform, it was getting harder and harder to see the full collection. Most likely because it's an indicator that I'm doing too much and I needed to eliminate some stuff, which I am gonna go in and eliminate. But it was hard to see because everything was getting so small since my workspace was getting so big. So that whole idea of looking at the overall view of my whole collection by having each capsule on one worksheet wasn't quite working. I ended up going back to GoodNotes. And in GoodNotes, I have each of my capsules. Well, first I'm supposed to be putting in the description and like the mood board and stuff, which I haven't done yet, but I'll be getting into adding those in. But now you're starting to see my different capsules that make up my full collection. And it's not done yet, as you can see. I just started importing everything into GoodNotes from free form, so it's not organized or clean or anything. But you can see all my capsules here of my full collection that I need to go in and clean up and obviously remove some things because I have too much on here. Oh, I didn't put in my men's yet, so I still need to add men's. But I'm going back to GoodNotes because in GoodNotes, at least I can swipe and see everything as a whole. I can also print these out and put them on a board if I want to see it all on one page. But again, I have like the titles for each capsule because I told you this whole thing has a story to it. You'll get to hear the story more as you watch in the making. But there is a full story to this. I have my fabrics here. I'm also gonna add in some notes and things. So what's next? So once sketches are done, once fabric is sourced and the trims, I shouldn't just say fabric because there's more sourcing than just fabric, I then start looking into doing the tech packs, which can be time consuming and not everyone's favorite, but tech packs has to be done. Sometimes I need to do final sketches because like I said, sometimes I'll just hand draw it really quickly just to get the idea down, but I need to actually create the digital sketch. So if I only have like a rough draft of a sketch, I'll go and I'll finalize that. Creating a mood board, if I still want to create a mood board at this point, since I've already done the sketches and the fabrics, mood board may not be necessary, but sometimes it can be helpful when showing the manufacturer so they can get your overall concept. And yeah, once you're done with the concept and planning, that's when you start working with the manufacturer. So these pages are not done. This is just the start. And as soon as I finish this, you guys will see the whole thing, but you won't see it until a later episode. So make sure you continue watching in the making. So if you want to see this full collection come to life, literally from sketch to sample, make sure you hit the subscribe button because that next episode is dropping soon.